Hello and welcome to Zoomed in Africa, your go-to source for uncovering the untold stories of the African continent, spotlighting its influential figures, vibrant communities, and decoding the power dynamics that shape its future. Today, our focus shifts to Cameroon, and to a man who has embodied its political life for over 40 years, Paul Biya, the world's oldest presidential contender, still orbiting the seat of power without ever personally declaring his candidacy. This portrait raises a deeper question. How can a leader shape a nation for decades while keeping his personal intentions shrouded in ambiguity? Paul Biya rose to power in 1982, succeeding Amadou Ahidjo. From the outset, he was seen as a quiet technocrat, a bespectacled man with a calm demeanor, the kind of president you picture sipping tea slowly, signing decrees with the grace of a librarian, and avoiding anything resembling a fiery speech. No fanfare, no theatrics. Just a steady hand and a silence so polished it could pass for strategy. But gradually, Biya became something else entirely, a master of political time. As seasons passed, as Cameroonians grew up, started families, and watched their grandchildren come into the world, he remained unchanged. His grip on power seemed to defy the calendar, suspended in a timeline that answered only to him. While the nation aged, evolved, and adapted, Biya stood still, like a political monument immune to the passing years. He's become the political equivalent of Ndole, always present, always served, even if some find him a bit too bitter. You don't necessarily order it, but somehow, it still ends up on your plate. Paul Biya is like that dish you see at every family gathering. Nobody asked for it, everyone recognizes it, and it keeps showing up again and again since 1982. A longevity that would make even the cassava trees of the center region blush. And while generations come and go, he remains stoic, discreet, almost motionless, like a state-issued piece of furniture. Cameroon presents itself as a democracy. The constitution permits multi-party politics, elections are held, ballots are printed, and international observers arrive. Badges proudly displayed, notebooks in hand. But on the ground, Cameroonian democracy feels eerily similar to Enio's electricity. It flickers, it teases, it gives hope, but it rarely stays on. One day, it bursts forth with brilliance. The next, it vanishes without warning, leaving citizens in the dark, fumbling, waiting for a return that never quite comes. Democracy in Cameroon has gradually morphed into a slogan. It's paraded in official speeches, printed in donor reports, and recited at international forums. But in the streets of Douala or the neighborhoods of Garoua, it remains a distant abstraction. Instead of empowering citizens, it seems to concentrate power in the hands of one man, Paul Biya. A democracy shaped to presidential proportions, where ballot boxes exist, but electoral suspense is as rare as a power cut with prior warning. In this political theater, Biya isn't just the director. He is the set, the script, and sometimes even the audience. In 2018, Cameroonians witnessed something rare. A credible challenger, Maurice Kamto, former law professor and respected political figure, dared to confront Paul Biya at the ballot box. For a brief moment, hope flickered. In the streets, on social media, in living rooms, one question echoed like a chorus. Could this finally be the turning point? A nation long accustomed to elections without suspense held its breath. Even the ballots seemed unsure, as if they too sensed that something unprecedented was unfolding. Then the results came in. 71% for Biya, a familiar figure, as predictable as the rainy season in Yaoundé. You know it's coming, you just never know when it will end. Maurice Kamto, who declared himself the true winner, received no applause. No parade, no fanfare. Instead, mockery, a jail cell, and a quiet erasure from the political landscape. As usual, hope made a brief appearance, only to be tucked away once more in the drawer of national illusions. The courts, once revered as sacred temples of justice, morphed into a theater of the absurd. Lawyers pleaded passionately, judges nodded politely, then closed their files as if the verdict had been written long before the hearing. And somewhere else entirely in this courtroom comedy, the script left no room for suspense. Maurice Kamto would not be president. Not today, not tomorrow, not even in some distant, undefined future. The curtain fell, but the audience was never offered an alternate ending. In Cameroon, politics feels like a never-ending TV series. The lead character never exits. He simply changes outfits. One day, he reappears in Geneva for medical reasons. The next, He is in Yaoundé at the May 20th parade, waving like a benevolent monarch greeting his loyal subjects. His absence becomes presence. His silence, a calculated strategy. And each public appearance is dissected like a pivotal scene in a national soap opera, where the suspense lies not in the plot, but in the outfit of the day and the strength of the waved. In this political theater, the average Cameroonian isn't a spectator by choice. He is subscribed by default. Elections? They're like football matches where the referee plays for one team, the opponent's goalposts are half the size, and if by some miracle you score, the video assistant referee, VAR, suddenly breaks down. The crowd cheers, but the officials look the other way. Commentators speak of transparency, while the replays are blurry and the ball mysteriously vanishes from the screen. Ask Yebga or Moulinex if you must. In Cameroon, the democratic game is played with flexible rules, endless extra time, and a final score that always seems to have been decided before kickoff. And yet, the international community keeps applauding. Democracy is alive and well in Cameroon. They proclaim, diplomatic smiles firmly in place. Alive? Perhaps, but hooked up to an institutional life support machine, patched with goodwill electrodes and bandaged with observation reports. It breathes, barely. And while foreign embassies toast to stability, ordinary citizens gaze skyward like they're waiting for the power to come back on, with hope, resignation, and a candle within reach. The tragedy isn't about one man alone. It lies in what democracy has become, a hollow slogan. In Cameroon, democracy has failed to deliver on its promises of development. Roads crack faster than official speeches. Hospitals lack everything but patience, and young people dream less of building a future at home than of escaping it. Through visas, entrance exams, or desperate voyages across uncertain waters, the country produces talent, but exports hope. And while the elites speak of inclusive growth, even the sidewalks seem tired of waiting for progress. And what about human rights? They bend under the weight of political convenience. The right to vote has become a solemn ritual. You queue, you cast your ballot, you go home, without illusions. The right to protest? Reinterpreted as a threat to public order. A placard becomes provocation. A peaceful gathering turns into a legal case. As for the right to compete fairly in politics? It's a dream, carefully tucked away for future generations. Much like stable electricity or pothole-free roads. People talk about it, believe in it, but rarely see it. In this setting, democracy isn't dead. It simply plays a supporting role in a production where the lead actor doesn't like sharing the stage. As Cameroon quietly approaches another election season, Paul Biya still hasn't announced his candidacy. But in Yaoundé's cafes, packed taxis, and university corridors, no official statement is needed. Everyone already knows the script. Biya doesn't need to say, "I'm running." His silence has become its own political language. A subtle wink, a calculated absence, and the country understands. The curtain hasn't closed just yet. It's like a TV series where the ending is no surprise. Yet people keep watching, out of habit, curiosity, or simply because there's nothing else on. Opposition candidates fine-tune their campaigns, print their posters, rally their teams, only to find the playing field already tilted, the referee pre-selected, and the scoreboard filled before kickoff. The suspense is no longer about who will win. That is as predictable as the opening credits of a series we've watched too many times. The real question is, by how much will he triumph this time? And more importantly, will the people accept it quietly or raise their voices loud and clear? In this electoral production, the stakes aren't in the competition. They lie in the reaction. Even the extras are beginning to wonder whether to keep playing their roles or walk off the set entirely. Cameroon's story is not an exception. Across Africa, democracy is often praised as the royal road to development and human rights. It features prominently in official speeches, international reports, and donor promises. But when democracy turns into a theater with pre-written outcomes, it stops being a gateway to freedom and becomes a gilded cage, an institutional facade where ballot boxes exist, but power circulates in a closed loop. In this political lockdown, citizens don't vote to choose. They vote to confirm. Paul Biya remains the lead actor in this political play, though actor might be generous. He is on stage, motionless, while others flail around him. His craft? Presidential mime. He speaks rarely, does even less, yet somehow manages to outlast the theater curtains themselves. His secret? A magical potion brewed from silence, absence, and a supernatural ability to wait until everyone else burns out. While opponents shout themselves hoarse and citizens grow restless, Biya stays calm. Like an old piece of furniture no one dares move. For fear of waking the termites, he doesn't govern. He hibernates. And yet, every morning, Cameroon wakes up to find him still there, like a glitch in the system. No one is quite sure if he's a president, a recluse, or just a political urban legend. But one thing is certain. He has elevated inaction to the level of a martial art. The question is no longer whether Paul Biya will run again. At this point, it's like asking if the sun will rise tomorrow. Predictable, inevitable, and frankly, a bit tiresome. The real issue is the country itself. Cameroon, spinning in circles like a hyper-patriotic hamster in a rusty wheel. There's applause, national anthems, occasional voting, but no forward motion. It's elegant stagnation, as if inertia had become a national sport. While Biya perfects the art of silent waiting, the nation wanders through an administrative maze, every exit sealed off by a presidential decree from 1982. Governance has given way to recycling. Same slogans, same faces, same promises, with a vintage twist. And as the world races ahead toward innovation, ecological transition, and artificial intelligence, Cameroon remains stuck in a temporal loop, watching the future pass by like a train it missed decades ago. If you found value in our deep dive into the political history of Cameroon, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Every action counts in helping shine a light on African stories that are too often forgotten. Round Pushpin, join us next time as we turn our lens toward another overlooked corner of the continent. Because Africa still has so many stories to tell.